Welcome to What the Tech. We're the show that cuts right through the marketing hype to give you the kind of hard-hitting analysis you just won't find anywhere else.
All right, let's just get right into it. Right now, companies are pouring somewhere between $30 to $40 billion into enterprise AI, and a staggering 95% of those pilot projects, they are delivering absolutely zero return on investment. You heard me right, zero. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a massive systemic failure.
But here's the thing. This isn't some new, shocking problem unique to AI. It is a huge, expensive mistake we have seen play out before. And to really get what's going wrong today, we have to jump in a time machine and head back to the 1980s.
Picture this. It's 1984. General Motors is getting hammered by the competition, and their CEO, Roger Smith, decides to make this enormous bet. He announces the Factory of the Future, a billion-dollar plan to save the company with an army of robots.
So how did that work out? Well, it was an absolute disaster. I mean, we are talking about comical, multi-million-dollar screw-ups. You had robots spraying paint on each other instead of the actual cars. They were welding doors shut by accident. Productivity actually went down compared to the old factories run by people, and the costs just went through the roof.
And this quote from the CEO himself, man, it tells you everything you need to know about the mindset here. This was never really about building a better product or a more efficient company. It was a war, machines versus people. It was a brute force attempt to just slash labor costs, plain and simple.
But at the very same time that GM was failing so spectacularly, its biggest competitor, Toyota, was taking a completely different path. They were quietly pioneering a much smarter, more surgical, and way more effective approach to all this.
They had a name for it, automation. Think of it as automation with a human touch. See, instead of just replacing people, the whole idea was to design technology that could work with them. The focus was totally different. Let's empower our people and our machines to work together to make things better, not just cheaper.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. GM, that was a top-down order from the C-suite to rip and replace everything. Toyota, they took a bottom-up approach. It was all about learning, running small, targeted experiments, and focusing on actually improving the work itself.
Okay, so why are we talking about a 40-year-old story from the auto industry? Because if you look closely at how most companies are rolling out AI today, it's the exact same mistake. History is repeating itself.
And you don't have to take my word for it. A recent MIT report found that a lot of today's fancy, expensive AI tools are just fundamentally broken. The report calls them brittle, over-engineered, or misaligned with actual workflows. Why? Because they don't actually fit how real work gets done on the ground.
Does that sound familiar? It should. It is the exact same problem GM's robots had. Technology dreamed up in a boardroom that's completely disconnected from the reality of the factory floor. And that, right there, is the uncomfortable truth of it all. Most of these failed corporate AI strategies, they're just GM 1984 in a shiny new disguise. They're led by the tech, not by the problem. They're totally blind to the context of how people actually work. And because of that, they are absolutely destined to fail.
This really brings us to the most crucial point, and it's something every single business leader needs to tattoo on their brain. There are very few ways to lose money faster than automating a process you don't actually understand. Just throwing cool tech at a workflow without getting the details, it's a guaranteed way to waste billions.
So the big question is, how do you avoid falling into that GM trap? How can you get this right and actually win with AI? Well, it really comes down to a clear 3-step playbook.
The answer is right there in Toyota's playbook, just adapted for our world today. First, you have to become obsessed with understanding how work actually gets done, day in, day out. Second, you run small, targeted trials on the boring, predictable, repetitive stuff. And third, and this one is so important, you use those efficiency gains to redeploy your people to higher value work, not just to reduce your headcount.
Look, the bottom line is this. The real competitive advantage isn't going to go to the company that buys the most AI or shouts the loudest about it. It's going to go to the one that treats AI as an operational design problem, the one that uses it to thoughtfully and intelligently redesign its business from the ground up.
So as we wrap this up, you've got to ask yourself, is your company's AI strategy really building the factory of the future? Or are you just driving a shiny, brand new, and very expensive version of a 1984 Lemon? If you appreciated this analysis, you know what to do. Make sure to like and subscribe to What the Tech for more content that cuts right through the hype. Thanks for watching.